G'day, I'm Paul. A little while back we drove the GR Yaris and that was so much fun. We even did a drag race with my Supra. If you want to watch those videos, you can go down to the description below. But now it's time to drive this, which is like the grown-up brother of the Yaris. It's also got a 3-cylinder, but it's got more power, more torque, just more everything. This is called the GR Corolla, unsurprisingly. This one here is the entry level in Australia. It's called the GTS. It's priced at just under $70,000. There is a more hardcore version of this that doesn't have back seats. It's got more torque. It's called the Marizzo, and that's coming later. That's priced at just under $80,000. Now, this competes with things like the Hyundai i30N, the Volkswagen Golf R, the Honda Civic Type R. There's a stack of competitors in this little segment, and all of them do this formula differently. So I'm keen to see what Toyota's take on this is like. Today we're going to do a detailed review of this car. So if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you can use the time codes that are up on the screen. Or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. That way you'll find out every single time we drive a car with gills. Let's talk exterior design. So you've got 7 exterior colors to pick from. Some of these are unique to the top spec version, but you will pay $575 upwards depending on which color you pick. How's the design on this? When you see this in person, it looks seriously aggressive. You've got these big gills on top of the bonnet there that are actually functional. Then down the front here, you've got the GR badge, a lot of piano black down there. Big Toyota logo there as well. But if you look at it from the side profile, the hips extend out the back there. Down the front here, it has pumped arches too. It is a sensational looking car. And I reckon in 5 or 10 years time, when EVs are the norm, this thing is still going to look absolutely unreal. And if you park this next to something like, I don't know, Golf R just looks a bit sort of basic in comparison. This looks really cool, so big fan of this. Over here you have a set of full LED headlights, little air vent there that spits out just ahead of the wheel, and then around the side here, have a look at this. Get a set of 18-inch alloy wheels. Now, if you do go for the top spec version, you get lightweight wheels. This one is fitted with Yokohama Advan tires, so they're kind of not exactly a semi-slick, but they're sort of on their way to that. It is a very sporty oriented tire. Big set of stoppers under there as well, so 355mm rotor, 4-piston caliper, and a single piston caliper on a slightly smaller rotor at the rear. These are slotted as well, so it gives you that little bit of extra heat dissipation too. GR badge just here, and have a look at these vents here as well, so they're functional too. It really is just a work of art the way they've made this look nice and sort of tough and aggressive. Up the top here, you have a little bit of aero on the side there, piano black on the wing mirror with an indicator built into there. This side section here has GR4 insignia on it, and this is where you have those bolt-on guards at the rear that really flare this out as you come towards the back. Privacy glass there as well. Come to the back with me. Now this looks seriously meaty as well. So GR Corolla badge just there, but you have 1, 2, 3 exhaust pipes, which I reckon is unreal. Piano black down this bottom section here, and again, a really aggressive rear on it. It sort of sits out nice and fat at the back there, so that looks awesome. Let me know what you reckon about the design in the comments section below. Do you think this looks good? In person, this just takes on a completely different character. It looks so much better than in the pictures. So let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. So we're inside the GR Corolla. Let's start off with the key. You've got lock, unlock, Toyota down the bottom, then on the back there you've got GR. This is a proximity sensing key, so you leave that in your pocket. Once you're inside, you've got a push button start here. Love that it has GR written on that as well. And then in addition to that GR logo there, you got one here on the gear stick, you got one here on the steering wheel, on the seats as well. And this little section here is unique to GR Corolla as well, because this is where you can set your torque bias and also engage the track mode and stuff. So we'll run through that a little bit later on when we go for a drive. So what do we think about the interior? Look, just in terms of presentation, I actually think it looks nice enough. You've got a screen up the top there, although I wish the infotainment screen actually filled that whole section. It kind of looks strange that you've got this enormous area for it and then it's just this tiny little screen in the center there. So I wish that was bigger, but outside of that, everything else here feels really nice and premium, and it really should be when you consider the price tag. It isn't sort of until you get to this back section here that it kind of falls apart a little bit. Typically it is with cheaper cars that you don't get a center console and all that sort of stuff, and it is a bit weird that you don't have anything here, but you can kind of live with that. In terms of your touch points, there's nothing to really touch over here, but on the door armrest, that is nice and soft. How soft is it? Well, we've got our durometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, have a look at the link in the description below. Build quality. Yeah, that's fairly wonky there in the center. That all feels okay, but yeah, that's not great there. Door slam test. Yeah, it sounds okay. Now let's talk infotainment. So it's all built into this cluster here, 8-inch infotainment system. Like I said before, it kind of just looks a bit weird that it doesn't go all the way to the edge, but the good news is that it is a huge leap forward from the old infotainment system they used to have inside Corolla. So this has been derived from a system they use in Lexus vehicles, and it is light years better. So nice and quick, everything's nice and responsive. You also have now the ability to connect with your car over the phone, and that brings with it an SOS button up here as well, so it does have remote connectivity. On the radio front, you have AM, FM, DAB digital radio, and that's plumbed through an 8-speaker JBL branded sound system. Sound quality is actually pretty good for a car this size. Smartphone mirroring comes in the form of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Apple CarPlay is wireless. This is what it looks like here, so not too bad, nice and snappy without any dramas there. And this is what Android Auto looks like. So again, full screen integration. Nice and snappy there as well, but keep in mind Android Auto is wired while CarPlay is wireless. Now, if we move away from this, oh, by the way, this has inbuilt satellite navigation as well. If we move away from that and go to the screen ahead of the driver, this is actually pretty impressive. So it's a big 12.3-inch display, full sort of display. There's no analog stuff here. And the amount of configuration you have here is unreal. You can get it to show you all kinds of different things on here. And I think that when you are driving hard and it gives you an idea of when you're approaching the limiter and that type of thing, it really is just the complete way to do this. So I love that they've gone just boy racer with this and given us all of the stuff we want to see. Now, what about your safety tech? So you have autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. Unfortunately, no auto dimming rear vision mirror. It's just this manual unit. You do get blind spot monitoring built into the wing mirror. You get a radar cruise control with a lane departure warning and a lane keeping assistant. We'll have a little bit of a play with that later on. Rear cross traffic alert, and then you also have front and rear parking sensors and a reverse view camera. I'll show you what that looks like. So yeah, the quality's fine. Sort of nothing too crazy. It's good enough for what it is. You can clearly see what's going on the suitcase as well. And this is what the horn sounds like. Moving on to practicality, and we'll start off with your connectivity. So down here you've got a USB-C port, you have a wireless phone charger there, you have another USB-C port back here under this cover, and a 12-volt outlet as well. It's a bit sort of disjointed having it all over the place there, but in terms of storing your phone, it can live there in the cup holder or on the wireless charger up the front there. What about your coffee cup? Where's that going to go? So it can go there, but it will end up getting delidded. You can put it up the back. There's actually 2 different heights there. So if you stick it up the back, it's fine, but up the front there, it'll end up falling off. Bottle storage is fine there, but there are no teeth, so that does move around a fair bit. Storage inside the doors. Little bottle fits fine. We'll try the big bottle, see if that works. No bingo on that one. In terms of other storage, there really isn't a great deal of storage around here. So, I mean, that spot up there is taken by the phone charger. You've got 2 cup holders here. This is virtually useless. You do have a glove box there that is actually pretty reasonably sized, and no sunglasses holder either. So not a huge amount of storage inside the cabin here, which I guess you come to expect from a Corolla. Okay, now comfort. So you have dual zone automatic climate control. You have heated seats here for the front row. In terms of the seat adjustment, it's all entirely manual, but the seats do hug you in really nicely. So if you are going to go for a fang, they will make sure you don't move around too much. Steering wheel offers both tilt and reach adjustment, and on the reach test, all of this stuff is easy to reach while you're driving. Okay, so second row. Yeah, first thing I noticed is door aperture isn't very wide, so it is a little tricky to get in and out. Once you are inside, it is a pretty compromised space. There's really no knee room, toe room's terrible, headroom's really not very good either. So yeah, not a great place to be seated if you are in the second row, unfortunately. Outside of that, you do have this center armrest here with 2 cup holders, so you can stick the bottle in there if you need to. Then you have 1 bottle holder there inside the door as well. You've got 2 map pockets just here, 2 ISOFIX points with 3 top tether points. It's also worth pointing out that because you don't have the center console here, it means you don't get rear air vents, so a little bit disappointing. You do miss out on cooling for the second row. Window test, so it's auto up and down. Does it go all the way down? Boom, it does. Excellent job. So let's talk cargo space. There isn't much of it, which I'm not surprised by. So you have a little over 200 litres worth of cargo space available here, but you don't have a spare tyre. There's a tyre repair kit, but there is this giant thing here that I'm sure you could remove. It kind of doesn't give you a flat load floor, but if you did need more room, you could just take that out and away you go. They have put the battery here, so it is a little compromised in terms of space, but you know, it is what it is. This is what it looks like with your bags in there. So laptop bag there, suitcase doesn't fit that way, but should fit that way. So you've got just enough room for one sort of reasonably sized suitcase plus your laptop. You can then drop your second row if you do need a little bit more space by getting rid of this guy. And then once that is out of the way, you can just drop this, and it gives you pretty much a flat load floor to put a tyre or two in. Okay, we've just hit the road in the GR Corolla. I'm probably gonna have to speak up a little bit here because it is pretty noisy inside the cabin. You get this really rumbly exhaust note at idle, and then when you're accelerating as well. So they've definitely dialed in as much noise as part of that experience as they possibly can. So let's talk about the engine under the bonnet. So it is similar to the engine that's in the GR Yaris, but it does make more power and torque. So it's a 1.6 litre turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engine. Makes 221 kilowatts of power and 370 Newton meters of torque. If you go for the more expensive, sportier, lighter weight version of this, it actually bumps the torque up a little bit as well, and it's lighter, so in theory it's also quicker too. So all of that stuff adds up if you are serious about your track times. How does it all feel behind the wheel? So we're just sort of in the normal sport mode at the moment, and start with the gear shifts. So look, the gear shifts are okay. They're sort of nice and tight, but I reckon they could be tighter. I sort of think back to stuff like the SS Commodore, the V8. It was just great in terms of the gear shift. It was a nice and tight sort of change. This is a tiny bit sloppy in comparison, but perhaps a short shift kit is something you can actually work on if you do own one of these and you are sort of serious about track driving and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and the clutch is sort of fairly heavy as well. It's obviously not race car heavy, but it's heavy enough, and it makes you feel like you're actually doing something, which is great. And then the steering as well at low speeds is really good, even in normal mode. It's very communicative, which is great. So what does it feel like when you do plant the throttle? Let's dial this back to second gear here and just lay into it. Yeah, nice. That feels great. The sound is so cool as well. You can actually hear like whooshing from the engine bay. And then when you let off the throttle, you can hear all of that pressure releasing. Like it is a really cool sounding place to be seated when you are getting stuck into it. And this is just in the normal mode as well. And like I said before, these gauges are so cool ahead of the driver. We've got that right one set up at the moment as a G gauge, but if I sort of flick through the menus here and we go over to things like boost pressure as well. So if I dial this back to second here and we just give it a boot full, see that whip around. So yeah, pretty unreal setup, and as a bit of a boy racer theme, I really like what they've done here. Now, what about your day-to-day driving? What's it like to live with? Well, look, the ride is firm, but it's not ridiculously firm. Like it is, I don't know, it feels like it's firmly sprung but softly damped, so you don't really get that big sort of harsh sort of bumps through the cabin every time you hit a speed hump or something like that. It feels firm enough for the type of car that it is, and I don't think it's going to get tiresome like some sort of overly firm sports cars do. Now, fuel economy. Toyota claims a combined average of under 10 litres per 100 Ks. I'm not even going to bother showing you what ours is. In fact, I'm curious now to see what it is, but yeah, 18.1. Yeah, we've just been having an absolute ball here this morning, so we didn't really record fuel economy like we normally would because, yeah, so yeah. It is going to use a little bit of fuel, keep that in mind. So let's talk tyre noise. Unfortunately, as you can tell, I'm having to kind of yell at you, and you are going to get that effect from these tyres. They are very much a track-focused tyre, and it means that when you are driving on coarse chip surfaces, you do get a fair bit of noise coming into the cabin. So yeah, don't expect it to be blissfully quiet like a Corolla hybrid. It is going to be significantly louder than that. What about your visibility? So I can see clearly down the front there. I love that I can see those little gills there as well. Visibility down the side is great with those big wing mirrors. Visibility out the back is okay. It's quite a narrow envelope, so you're not going to see a great deal out of there, but it is fine for what it is. Okay, let's go for a bit of a fang. I'm going to pop this down into sport mode, so instantly I can feel that throttle become a bit more responsive. We'll leave it at the moment in 60/40, but I will put it into expert mode, which gives us a bit more slip, and then we'll dial in throttle through here. Wow, it has got some absolute mumbo. So at the moment we are predominantly sending torque to the front axle. Holy shit, this thing is moving. That is unbelievable for such a small car. It is absolutely hammering. Yeah, this is nice. So steering feels great, brake pedal feels good coming into that section back there. See what it's like up the top here. Oh, it is absolutely moving. Wow. Oh, I am seriously lost for words. Let's give it a little punt here onto the back straight. Roll onto this and grab fourth. There it is. All right, get stuck into this. Far out. That is unreal. Oh man, I just didn't even have time to speak then. I think we're going to go for another lap here because that is seriously cool. Wow, it just piles on power. Like, if you sat somebody in this car and didn't tell them it was a 3-cylinder turbo, like, you would never believe them. It just has legs, absolute legs. Like, it's a bit hard to explain, I think, because you're doing all the actions here yourself. Everything is happening. It's quite a sort of visceral experience. It really just staggers me they've been able to extract such potency from such a small package like this. Even something like a Golf R feels quick, but you know, it's a 2-litre 4-cylinder. You've got so much more capacity there. This is a 3-cylinder 1.6 litre is just stupendously good. So that was fun. So that was in the front-wheel drive bias. Let's go over to 3070, which is our rear bias mode, and we'll go for one more lap around here, and I'll try and actually do some speaking this time around. So expert mode gives you a little bit more slip, so it means that when you do tip it in, you are getting just a little bit more action from the car, especially here in the rear wheel drive mode. If I just plow onto that, actually this mode feels much better to me. I can feel a bit more torque getting sent to the rear. So both the front and rear axles have a Torsen limited slip differential. That means that when you do plow into some of these corners and you get on the throttle on the way out, you actually have a mechanical differential that's ensuring that you're not getting a flare up on the inside wheel. On the faster sweepers like this, you can really confidently stay in the throttle. This is remarkably quick. I'm genuinely impressed by this. It is seriously good. Oh, it has so much traction, and these tyres are great as well. They're Advans, the sort of semi slicks. All right, one more punch up the back here. It is far out. Brakes are fantastic as well. That is stupidly good. Wow, good job, Toyota. This thing is unreal. Then you also have the not man mode, which is this button here. It allows the vehicle to rev match on downshift, so if you're not confident doing that, you can just do that yourself. Hey, let's dial up 130 as well for our sine wave. We'll see what it feels like across these. Yeah, no problems at all, as I expected. Typically with the firmer cars, they're fine over the sine waves there. But yeah, look, this is quite a package, and yeah, to say that Toyota's done a good job with this is an absolute understatement. When Toyota said they were going to do like a GR Corolla, you either go full hardcore with it or you go half-assed. They have definitely gone hardcore, and this isn't even the lightweight version. I'm keen to have a crack in that and just see how much more aggressive that is. Yeah, excellent job, Toyota. This is an absolute smile maker. I should also call out there is a track mode as well. When you engage that, it's a 50-50 torque split. So they're the 3 settings you have to choose from: front bias, rear bias, and then 50-50 as well for the track. Now, the test we do in each of these cars is our bumpy road, and we do that at 90 k's an hour. This just simulates a dodgy stretch of Australian country road. Obviously not going to be driving your GR Corolla on something like this, but just in case you do, it's good to know how it's going to fare, and it's actually going really well here. Oh. Even on that tighter, condensed sine wave there, it's actually doing a really good job. So you can see there is actually compliance within this suspension system. If you do find yourself on maybe a rally stage or something fun like that, it's not going to rip your car apart as you bounce over some of this stuff. Okay, let's do a little bit of our safety system testing here with the autonomous driving function. So we'll get it up to 70 k's an hour, and I'll set the cruise control. So what we're waiting for here is our little indicator to go green up there to suggest that steering control is active. And we're going to do this in the 3 outer lanes. So we're not testing to see how well the car banks. What we're testing here is to see how much torque it's willing to apply to the steering wheel, which simulates a corner. So lane 1 here, it's doing a great job. It's holding us nice and center there without any dramas. We'll jump over to lane 2. Okay, so same story there. It's actually doing an excellent job holding us in this position. Like we're dead center in the lane there. That is awesome. All right, lane 3. Let's see how it goes up here. Okay, that is lane 3. I'll let go of the steering wheel. Okay, so it's coming down towards that line, but it's putting us back into the center. Yeah, nice. It is actually doing a really good job. So it's keeping us in the center there. It's willing to apply a fair bit of steering torque there to hold us in that position. So yeah, very impressive. So that's a pass in lane 1, 2, and 3. Good job, Toyota. Okay, time to do a little bit of performance testing. So I'm going to caveat this by saying if we were doing this as like a performance test and we're benchmarking this against its competitors and stuff, I'd sit here all day and try and get the manufacturer claim, which is about 5.3 seconds. But I don't want to do that because A, we don't have time, and B, I don't want to destroy the car. So what I'm going to do is just try use launch control once, and we'll see how that goes. Then what I'm going to try and do is just do it myself and see if I can get a better time, and then we'll have a look at the results, and that will be that. We're going to go from 0 to 100 and then also to 120 to see our 80 to 120 time. And yeah, let's see how we go. So I've got it in sport mode. I've got it in, we'll put it in rear drive, so 30-70. And then all I'm going to do is mash the throttle with the clutch in until launch control activates, slip the clutch, and then we'll just power our way through to 120. So here we go. So throttle flat to the floor, slip the clutch. Feels good. All right, and that's 120. So let's have a look at our time. 0 to 100 in 6.42 seconds, so about a second off the mark there. And then our 80 to 120, 3.68 seconds, which is really damn impressive for a 3-cylinder engine. That is ridiculous. So, all right, let's go back and we'll try it once more without launch control active, because it has, from what I can tell, only a rev limiter at redline. It doesn't have one of those silly things where it doesn't let you rev it, so I'll be able to play with it just a little bit more. Okay, second time around. This time we're going to forego launch control. We'll put it into expert mode, which, watch this, lets us rev pretty much all the way out to redline, which is cool. So I'm going to manage the revs myself, and we'll just see if this gives us a better time potentially, but here we go. So a few more revs there. Slip the clutch and see what happens. That's better. All right, and there's 120. So 0 to 100 that time, 5.79 seconds, so significantly better, and then 80 to 120 in 3.61. So yeah, like I said, I think if I sat here and attempted this a few more times, it's literally the first time I've tried it today, I think you could easily hit the manufacturer claim of about 5.3 seconds. It is pretty damn quick for a 3-cylinder car, so very impressed with that. Okay, brake test time. We'll stop from 100 k's an hour. We'll just get it above the 100 k an hour mark, and then we'll hit our braking marker, which is just up here. Here we go. So 100 to 0, 2.77 seconds in 38.08 meters, which is actually not a bad number there at all. So very impressive. And last thing we're going to do is reverse speed test. Let's see how quickly the GR Corolla goes in reverse. Now with all other Toyotas, when you turn off traction control, it goes faster. So let's see how this goes. Oh, 70 k's an hour. Holy crap, it hauled ass up to that point as well. That is unreal. So the GR Corolla, look, it is about as fun as I thought it was going to be. It's like I don't know, just a bigger, slightly more capable version of the GR Yaris. It's just a barrel of laughs. I love all the configurability and all the stuff that the driver sees ahead of them. The brakes are fantastic. It's really fun through corners, and it's just not over the top for day-to-day driving either. So it is a really enjoyable car to drive. So let me know in the comments section below, have you bought one of these, or are you going to wait for like the full hardcore version? And are you a GR Yaris owner? Are you going to upgrade to one of these? Let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.